So Charmaine, I'll let you say something before we get actually started into this. And Daniel, again, we just want it. Again, you do not know really almost nothing about this situation. And that's exactly what I wanted. Somebody with a fresh set of thinking and someone that has had this experience. So go ahead, Charmaine. Did you need to say anything?
I know that American law enforcement is not the same as Canadian RCMP, but the procedure when you're, I guess, responding to a call, I mean, it's pretty static, I think. So either way, this is going to be, guys, fresh eyes, not tainted, not biased. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, Ben's in the house. Now, Belinda is the paternal grandmother, okay? So just in the scope of this, Daniel Martel and Malaya Brooks Murray. Malaya Brooks Murray is a biological mother, and they live, and Janie, if you ever hear the name Janie, that's Daniel Martel's mother. Those three individuals live on that property. Malaya has left the property the day after the children went missing, okay? So Malaya, Daniel, and Janie are the three people that were living on that property when the two children went missing, okay? So
I know very little about this case. Can we start from the top? So like, where is this place located?
It's located in Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia.
In Nova Scotia, in Pictou County, in the Lansdowne Station area. So East Coast.
And this is like wilderness, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture of what the property kind of looks like. I'll go through that. But so it's basically, in Canada we got lots of trees, and it's a very very.
What time of year
rural.
was this? It
happened on May 2nd of this year. So today marks the third month. Okay. So it's 3 months today that the children have been missing. Let me quickly just grab a picture.
I think it's safe to say their climate there is probably similar to like New York. It's a very East Coast situated, and it's on the island, very far East Coast.
And so what are the series of events that surrounded that day? Like, what time of day did they go missing?
We don't know. That's just it.
Or what's the narrative from law enforcement at this time? What time do they believe that the children went missing?
Charmaine, can you go ahead with that, and then I'll pull up Google Maps?
Okay, so I am not going to give you this series of events how we learned it. I think it's probably more beneficial to say right now, law enforcement say the kids were last seen on May 1st, so the day before, on a CCTV video at a mall with their parents and baby sister. That's the last time law enforcement are telling everybody that they were seen. And that's because the stepdad heard the kids in the morning in the house. Okay. And the little girl, the 6-year-old little girl, Lily, popped her head in the bedroom a couple of times between 8 and 8:30 in the morning. I don't want to ruin Sunny's plans, so I don't know how much of that information.
Go ahead.
We're going to give you basically when we're talking about the initial dispatch, they were called at 10:01 a.m. And the police got there relatively quickly because they were actually just down a little ways searching for a missing kayaker. So they were there before 10:30 in the morning to investigate. And basically what was learned that morning was that so Janie, stepmom, lives on the property, but she lives in an RV that's kind of adjacent to the trailer the kids live in with the parents. But she says that she heard the kids in the morning just playing outside around, before 9 a.m. So, just after 9 a.m. Apologize, just after 9 a.m. She didn't get up to check and see if that was the kids or what they were doing or whatever. She didn't get up. But then stepdad and mom were falling in and out of sleep with their baby. They have a 16-month-old baby at that time, and the baby was in bed with them. So they were kind of dozing in and out of sleep. They say they were sleeping for maybe 20 minutes when they woke up and realized they couldn't hear the kids anymore. And they instantly got up, started searching around, couldn't find them. And they were yelling for them. And mom says she just had the instinct instinct, she had to call 911 immediately. So that's kind of, is there anything else you want me to add to that, Sunny? Is there, I mean, there is more information, but we're not sure if it's true or not. So.
Okay, that's fine. Have they released the 911 call by any chance?
Yes. Not the call. No, we don't do that here.
Oh, okay. So they don't release that there in Canada?
No, we only have the time that was sent to me on a screenshot from the Brooke side of the family, Malaya side, which shows that the 911 call went in at 10:01.
And what day of the week was this?
Friday.
This was a Friday, and you had 3 adults at the house at this time. Is that normal?
Yes. Well, 3 adults, and it would be 3 children: Jack, Lilly, and Meadow. Meadow being the child between Daniel and Malaya. Jack and Lilly being the so Belinda that's in chat right now, she's the paternal grandmother, and her son Cody is a paternal father. So he's already been cleared with having anything to do with Jack and Lilly disappearance. So yes, it's typical. The mom in this property that you can see on the screen, Daniel. Okay. So just a point. So the home's here. There's a 5th wheel type trailer here. Janie, Daniel's mom, lives here. It's their it's her property. And Daniel and Malaya and the kids lived in this trailer here.
Okay.
And this is the area.
And that highway there in front of them, is that a commonly driven road? Is that what kind of highway is that?
Yeah, it's more like a trucking type of highway. It's as Janie puts it, you know, she knows this road. She's lived there for 60 years, inside that trailer for 26 years. So it's not a highly impacted road. No, not like what you would see probably. It's like maybe you'll see a car come down it, maybe not one for quite a while again. That's the interpretation kind of, I think, from Janie, which is the Daniel Martel's mother.
All right, so this was on May 2nd, 10 o'clock. They realize that their kids are missing and they call 911.
9:40, they realize they're missing, they say.
But okay, and so they call 911. The last time they were seen was the day before on CCTV. This was a Friday. Was there not school?
Okay, so to explain that, they had a professional development day, which is a PD day, you know, teachers conference type day on Wednesday. Lilly and Jack were called in sick to school. Lilly apparently had some sort of little cough. But we also know that on the Wednesday, that according to Daniel, the father, he says that Lilly had pushed down on a truck at Grandma Patty's house, and she ended up having a black eye as well. Now, in saying that, so regardless, Thursday, Wednesday night, Daniel and Malaya go to Malaya's grandmother's house. It's a pro D day. Thursday, they're called into school. Friday, they're called into school at 6:17 and 6:18 a.m. as well. Okay.
Okay. So just so I understand this, they both didn't go to school because one of them was sick.
Yes.
Okay. And who's older? The son or the little girl?
The girl. Lilly is 6. Jack is 4.
Did they go to the same school?
Yeah. It has about 92 students.
Okay. All right. And so they both missed school, but they were seen on camera the day before, right?
Right.
And
right.
Around what time was that?
Well, between like say 3 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon is when they arrived back home, approximately close to 4 o'clock. So yeah, they never gave a direct time, but it was in the afternoon was when basically the police released the fact that Malaya, Daniel, and Jack and Lilly Meadow were seen on camera near the Highland Mall, which is about 15-20 minutes down the road there. So basically from 4 p.m. and up until 10 a.m. when the 911 call is, that's when it's been a mishmash of information.
Okay. Yeah, I would have thought that was really weird. You know, miss school, both of them missing school, and then they go missing. But if there's video camera of them after what would have been there at school anyways, it kind of negates that, don't you think? Yeah.
I mean, before they came out and said that, the timeline would have been when the bus driver dropped them off on Tuesday, right? So there was all this speculation going on, of course, because, well, when did they truly disappear? Then the police, the RCMP, come out with the fact that they have video footage of them near the Highland Mall there And that's basically the last confirmation of time that they can pinpoint, besides family members saying things that are on the property.
What do you mean by they're saying things?
Well, meaning like Daniel and Malaya and Janie can say whatever they want, but they were the people on the property when the children disappeared. So obviously, right, to me, the police, they're using the last known time in public that the children were seen.
Okay. Was there any issues with the family before? Any CPS? I'm not sure if there's something equivalent to CPS out there in Canada, whatever that would be.
Yeah. Charmaine, can you answer that one for Daniel? The CPS prior?
My mute button. So, as luck would have it, we did find out down the road a little bit that there was CPS involvement with the family. Was it in December, I believe? The little boy, Jack, had a black eye at school. December, yeah. So they were called. Now, do we tell them what the stepdad's story was for that, or no?
No, I think you just keep it to that it was put out in an article about the CPS involvement to that.
Okay. Not about how the black eye happened, but how the CPS involvement. So these kids are supposedly.
Go ahead.
The kids are supposedly on the spectrum, undiagnosed on the spectrum, possible autism, according to the parents. And the first, when we found the article about CPS involvement, I think the stepdad got really defensive and said that they were called in basically because of learning disabilities at the school. They were there to help them cope with having learning disabilities. And you know as well as I do, that's not why CPS gets called in. Come to find out that no, it was due to a black eye that the little boy had. So, yeah.
So, was it all cleared up, or was it still an ongoing thing?
There was no
unknown. I suspect it was. There was no arrest. There was no. As far as we know. So in Canada, our Privacy Act is so far-reaching and so strict. Even when somebody is convicted and it's all said and done, we still have to apply to even get a mug, and we have to have a good reason for wanting that mug shot. So we don't know if that case was all said and done. And because if I go any further with that, I would have to give you my speculation. But I personally, I don't think it was all said and done because there was an issue. Obviously, when the kids go missing, and there's another little baby involved, there was a CPS situation. Obviously, they wanted to remove the baby from the situation. I don't know how else to explain that, Sunny.
So they took the baby away since this?
Well, yeah. So after the altercation, I think it was was the 3rd, right? Mm-hmm. Was it on the 3rd or 2nd? It was the 3rd. Okay. So there was arguments going on, blaming each other and stuff like that for the disappearance of the children. So stress was, I guess, probably high. Anyways, basically they wanted to protect Baby Meadow. And so Baby Meadow had to leave the property. And so Baby Meadow was handed over to, in trust to Cindy Murray, which is Malaya's mother. And so Malaya had left that next day and she was gone. Right. She basically, after the altercation, her mom said something to her. She said, and this is out of Daniel's mouth. Daniel said that Malaya couldn't even look at him, and she went with the mother. There was plans to go searching, and we never heard from Malaya up until just the other day to me in Messenger. Other than that, there was maybe a couple other times, but nothing publicly. She basically just went to her mother's. She took down her Facebook. A couple of days later, she brought it back up. She put herself as single. She added a few friends, and she took down all of Daniel's pictures from the Facebook, and then she took it back down, and then she brought it back up, and then she took it back down, brought it back up, and so besides up until the other day, the mother has been radio and her family radio silent for the most part. It's weird. Yeah.
So at what point are we going to show him that interview, Sunny?
Well, Daniel, so this, yeah, Daniel. So obviously, like you can see the greenery and how remote this place is. And it's so Janie, the mother of Daniel Martel, is like, look, there's no one vehicle, and I agree. There's no one vehicle that approached at that specific time that took these kids. And the RCMP were very clear on the fact that they were not going to issue an Amber Alert because there was nothing to show that these children were abducted by, say, a stranger. So an Amber Alert didn't go out. Two vulnerable missing children alerts went out, one that morning and one in the afternoon. And so basically, as for the woods as well, the searchers spent a week looking in the woods, and because they do have a little fort, right, just, on the side of their home there. But the thing is that because of, I think, what was it, Katrina, which was a cyclone or whatever that went through, put a lot of trees down. The children are not known to venture off into the woods. And Belinda, the grandmother, who was there on the second day of the search, on the 3rd, as well as other days, but the 3rd, said, just like Janie says, there's no way that these children went in the woods. They found nothing. They didn't find a knapsack or that Lily had, supposedly, a dirty diaper or a nappy that Jack had, nothing. And then they came back about 3 weeks later and they did another search on specific areas. What they found during this time was a part of a pink blanket from the garbage from the home hung up in a tree down the road, towards Daniel, his father's home. And they found a small child's boot print near the pipeline. Okay. So basically we have a mother that leaves the next day, never to basically be heard from again. And Daniel Martel is the one that does interviews. He's the one that's putting his face out there to talk about Jack and Lily. So he's going with what would normally be what we would consider normal for a person to do. Go out to the media, speak to them. Go ahead, Charmaine.
Just to interject and back up a little bit, Daniel, because this is all very, very confusing. But okay, so just initially, they had search dogs there. They tracked the kids, but lost the scent at the end of the driveway. Okay. The law enforcement and search and rescue, they searched a 5-mile radius search area for 5.5 solid days. Okay. They found nothing. And then they called the search off, did a press conference and basically said, look, we're going to review everything that we've searched. We haven't found anything yet. We're going to hone in on different search areas to look into. But the fact is that if the kids are out in the woods, the likelihood of them being alive is very low. So they scaled back the search and didn't go back. I think it was another 10 days after that or more that they didn't go back out. But for those first few days, that first just under a week, they had drones, they had helicopters, they had search dogs, and they had search and rescue. Over 160 people plus resources were out in those woods searching for the kids. And like I said, they called back the search. Now, during that press conference, law enforcement came out and said, we didn't issue an Amber Alert because we have no reason to believe that they were abducted. So that's what everybody, and Surrey chatters, but that's what everybody's stuck on, that statement by law enforcement that they have no evidence to show an abduction happened in order to issue an Amber Alert. To me, and I'm going off a little bit here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they still have that same thought, because now they've stopped searching the woods. Because again, they found one boot print on the second search near a pipeline trail. And somebody else will have to answer that. I don't even know. Not far from the house, from the blueprint of the pipeline. It wasn't that far, but with the tropical storm. Tropical storm Fiona had all the trees, like searchers, they were getting hurt. These professional searchers were getting hurt. They were dehydrated. They were saying, like, how can a 4- and 6-year-old trot through these woods? You know what I mean? Like, it was just, it was nonsense.
I mean, if they were on the spectrum, I don't know if that's true or not, but if they were, some kids on the spectrum have been known to randomly all of a sudden walk away and go walking. Kids are resilient. There's a lot of kids that have gone missing, and there's this whole thing called the missing 411 with there's a former law enforcement officer as well, and he did this deal, and he researched all these different cases where people went missing in national force, and some of these kids went missing, and they ended up finding them like miles down the road through some of the most treacherous things. In this scenario, how far is the shoe print?
Okay, right. So Daniel, on the screen, and I'll make it bigger for you to see. I'll just do this. So you can see where 1407 here is at the very bottom of the screen. That's where the trailer is. So the pink blanket was found approximately here, and the child's boot print near the pipeline here. And Earl Martell's home, which is Daniel's dad, lives here. So that's the gist.
And it was found near the, looks like it's by a roadway.
It's like a dirt road. Yeah. Like this is right. It's like a gravel road.
And who lives up there?
Well, Daniel Martell. So Daniel Martell and Janie Martell, that's Daniel's parents. Okay. Earl lives on this property above where the child boot print was found. And Jack and Lilly, of course, where Malaya and Daniel and Janie live, is here. So that's where those two items were found. Now, this pink blanket that was here, it was like a piece of the blanket, right? So it was put into the garbage bin at the home, and somehow it miraculously ended up here in a tree. In a tree. So it's not like it was on the ground. It was in a tree. As if it was thrown there, or birds flew, and grabbed it and put it there.
I mean, the wind could have pushed it up there. The boot print is interesting. It's just one, the little shoe print.
Yeah.
And how far is that? It looks far from the satellite image, but I've seen where that could be deceptive. How far is that, like feet wise? Meters, yards.
2 miles, I believe.
Less than 2, far. I think. Yeah, 2 miles approximately, or a little bit less, but yeah.
Okay. You don't think they may have tried to walk to Grandma and Grandpa's?
There was nothing past the driveway with the dogs.
Huh. And their parents never talked about walking up there, maybe taking a path, a trail.
No,
they've never walked their kids around there.
We don't know the actual answer to that, besides the fact that the children would not do something like that. Like that they were supervised, even though obviously unsupervised, definitely regardless on this day. But no, there's nothing to show that. There's nothing to show that there's anything about, because it was raining that day, okay?
Okay, I know that.
Yeah, so it was raining that day. And the only other boot prints that were found was on the trailer here. Let me just, go back over here. So there was no footprints past the driveway, which would make sense to the bus, right? The bus comes, picks them up, takes them for a drive for about 20 minutes. But anyways, so the fifth wheel is here, right? So there was a boot print. It was raining that night. And there was what do you want to call it? A pothole type of thing that had a boot print in it. And that was a boot print or boot prints, because I've heard it said both ways. So let's just say one set of boot prints in this kind of like round hole or pothole, whatever. And that was it. So that one and the one on the pipeline would have been the only sort of.
Did the parents confirm that the child had a boot that would have created those prints?
Nothing that we would have known.
Okay.
I will say this, because this is part of it all. The truth has not been forthcoming with this case. It's just not been forthcoming. And that's why the timeline is so sporadic. all over the map for us to try to understand. Malaya Brookside, they're not saying nothing at all.
Well, if that's the case, it's probably because they feel something more nefarious happened and they don't want information to come out. I mean, the only time you start getting quiet about things is when you have evidence of something else. And I mean, to me, it's starting like just kind of preliminary. The first hunch that I would get is you have a couple of kids. They seem pretty young. I mean, they may not have done something beforehand, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to walk off. They're not going to try to walk to grandma and grandpa's house. You know, I don't put that out of the realm of possibility that they walked off. At this point, I don't know everything else yet. The direction, the boot, the blanket, it sounds like they were going in that direction. It's kind of not odd, but it's like, all right, they're going into the direction of this. Is it possible that somebody picked them up there? And maybe that's why they're now more concerned about something nefarious. Because it's weird if you're saying that if law enforcement is keeping things close to the vest, that's usually not a good sign.
Well, let me play, like I said, these interviews for you. Okay. The first one will be Malaya, the mom, and she's the one that left the next day. This is the only interview she did. Okay.
And this was on that day. So this was the morning after they were missing. What happened was,
yes, May 3rd.
And this is who again?
Malaya, the mother of Jack and Lily.
Okay.
Okay. So hold on. That back. I'll start at the start.
Just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up. I heard them playing in the next room beside us. And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, "Do you hear the kids?" And he says, "No." And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds. And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
The last few days are very stressful.
That one, Daniel, because this is the other Daniel that's on screen, and we'll get into his later. But just what was your take just by listening to it fresh?
I definitely want to hear it a few more times. I'm going to probably go back and listen to it after this.
Yeah.
It sounds very. I mean, it's very sad. It's very, very sad. I feel for these kids. They're missing. As far as do I think maybe what happened or they're being disingenuous? I'm not really sensing that right now. But I'd have to watch more. I would like to watch that more. So I'm a little bit confused. So she says that her kids got out, and apparently they were playing out in the back. They may have gone out through the back sliding glass door. They didn't hear it, and they woke up because they didn't hear their kids. So I'm assuming somebody told her at this point that their kids were playing in the backyard.
That would be Janie.
The mother, the stepmother, grandmother, right?
Right. She didn't see them. She said she only heard them.
Okay. And her story changed at all?
Who's the grandmother?
The mother. This lady.
She would have to actually have said anything past this interview up until the other day when she spoke to me a little bit in Messenger. So there's Daniel's the one that's been out talking to the public. Has there been inconsistencies in what he's been saying? Yes, there has. But again, I just want
a high emotional time,
right. So do you want me to go ahead?
Go ahead.
No, do you want me to play a little bit of Daniel's interview
Yeah.
so that you can kind of get the gist of that? I will do that. Okay. So again, Daniel's the one, basically, like I said, Malaya left on the 3rd. Radio silent. Doesn't come out. She doesn't, in this interview, if you didn't notice, she's never said their name, Jack and Lilly. There's no begging for help at all in this interview. So these are like some red flags that we kind of pick up on when we're listening to it. And so again, maybe once you've listened to it a few times and with Daniel, he's been out in the public. He's been talking to the news and to the media and online here in the true crime world as well. It's just that some inconsistencies keep popping up and you just are trying to figure out a timeline, but nobody wants to seem to give a consistent timeline. So it's, how that turns out.
The only thing I will say, though, real quick, is that when it comes to certain persons in the true crime community, they can attack certain people without any evidence of things. So I've noticed, I've not, because of that and because of a high profile crime or high profile
case.
Yeah, a case that ends up getting public and people start pointing fingers in certain directions. I understand why people go radio silent with media. So I don't really hold that against a lot of people in recent years, like here recently. Now, this was, a while ago. I think that would have probably been a bit much bigger flag. But the things that you mentioned about the names and stuff, that is interesting.
It's just things, again, from watching missing person cases, with all the different cases and how different people react, it is interesting when you don't hear someone begging for help, please help find. She has an opportunity to say their names. She does not say their names. So now maybe we can be reading.
You point out though that Daniel is though, right?
Right.
But she was with Daniel that morning too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but so they're acting differently, and yet both together at the same time.
Right.
So people can sometimes react differently.
Right.
I would definitely. I don't know where you guys are at on this, but I haven't chosen to direct suspicion towards anybody yet. Not
Absolutely.
Yet. I don't think so, but not yet.
No, exactly. It's kind of again, for you kind of hearing things for your first time, just like we did as well, right? But obviously it's been 3 months. And again, just to have a timeline, it's like pulling teeth, but we keep getting a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, but you know how it is when a timeline doesn't make sense. You can't make sense out of nonsense type of thing. But okay, let me play some of Daniel here.
Okay.
The last few days are very stressful.
We woke up, I heard them playing in the next.
Shoot, go ahead, Charmaine.
There are people that came over here for from Drunkturkeyshow. So I know you've got the chat set up. You have to be a subscriber for hours and hours.
Oh, that's
Is there any way we can reduce that because they'd like to participate in chat as well?
You're right. It was set. That's because Daniel was, I was expecting him to stream it as well on that one. My bad.
No,
Okay.
no,
That's all good. We'll take that down. We'll take that down to 1 minute.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I've got some messages. Steelers fan has been asking. She's my wife. I've been like, calm down.
I'm all blurry. Hold on. But anyways, let me play this out. Sorry about that, you guys, from the Drunk Turkey Show. Okay, let's just get into Daniel's part. Should be right coming up again.
Verbal and
no, hold on.
But there's always
stressful. I mean,
I don't want to go through that another night without them.
The last few days have been very stressful. I mean, ever since the Friday morning when we noticed that the children were gone. Immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as I could, and waited for the police to get there. I'm out here still searching, still fighting to try to find them. That's all I can do.
The message is still, if anyone knows anything?
If anybody knows anything, just come forward as soon as possible. The 2 little kids are still out there. I want to find them. That's really all I can do. Still searching every day. I'm waiting for information. I have to let them do a lot of their stuff with the aircrafts and everything else, and dogs and searchers. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be coordinated, and I can't just go running through the woods. I want to, but I just can't right now because the search is just so far out. We were searching. We covered everywhere possible. Even in the first day we did. Even with me running through the woods, I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. Screaming as loud as I can. And just until my throat hurt. Running through water that was up to my waist. And as soon as I got back, I wasn't allowed back in the woods until a man dressed in a military outfit said I could go back into the woods.
4 days into the search for his missing stepkids, Lilly and Jack Sullivan, Daniel Martel is pleading with the public to keep their eyes peeled. But he has begun to lose hope they are anywhere in the vicinity.
They hate being wet and cold, so they immediately would have came right back into the house. The only 2 prints are right beside the house facing the road, and then that's it.
Martel wants the search to be extended to include provincial borders in case the children were abducted, a reality he says is becoming more and more likely.
Post any officers they can get, head them to Brunswick border, and PI border, and get them at every airport possible.
Martel confirmed that when the 2 children went missing from the home behind me, Lilly was wearing a pink shirt and pink rain boots. She was also carrying a white backpack with strawberries on it. Martel says although he didn't see Jack that morning, he is believed to be wearing a brown shirt, brown pants with a pull-up diaper on underneath, and blue rain boots with dinosaurs on them. He also refuted the claim that the 2 children are nonverbal, saying while they are on the autism spectrum, they are quite trusting and say hi to everyone. According to Martel, his side of the family are currently the only ones at ground zero after Lilly and Jack's mother left the county Saturday. But still, he remains, begging anyone with answers to come forward and bring his children home safe.
Anybody who has any information, or you think you've seen something, or hear something, or any messages from friends about hearing something, just contact your local police services. Anything, guys. Anything.
Ella MacDonald, Global News, Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia.
You said they're flying in someone to do a polygraph test. Is that on you?
That's not just on me, but on everyone. That's what I asked for. I asked for that so early on, and there's not many places that do it in Canada, so they're flying somebody in.
Why do you think you need to do that? Do you think they don't believe you?
I think their side of the family doesn't believe me, and I just want to clear it up for everyone. Clear it up for everyone, not just the people online making crazy accusations and everything else.
Was that taken?
My bad, Daniel.
It was like I think everybody's on mute.
Sorry. But yeah, so that was, of course, Daniel Martel, the stepfather. And of course, like I said, there's more interviews than that. He has done at least 3 or 4 more.
Did he complete the lie detector test?
Yeah.
Did the results come out?
Well, only by what his words were. So he did an interview not too long ago where she asked him about his lie detector test, and he explained exactly what he went through. He said that they told him he did a good job. And did he use the word he passed on that one? Was it right?
He did. Yeah, he said they said I did a good job. You passed.
Yeah.
That's what he said, and I find it hard to believe he didn't pass because he knows law enforcement would be watching him, because that was on mainstream media news.
Mm-hmm. And so there was a bunch of polygraph tests done, to family members and stuff like that. But yeah, so
the thing is, if one of them did it, then they both did, because they were both together that morning.
Correct.
They would both be involved. So like, it sounds like there's a little bit of a split between them, because he said that their side of the family, I'm assuming he's talking about the mom's side of the family, is having some issues. I get that, but if he did something, I mean, she's kind of his alibi.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying. So to me, if one of them did something, they both did, and
they both did.
Yeah, and if he passed the polygraph, I'm not saying he did, I have no idea. It's probably less likely that she had some involvement as well because they were together that morning. Am I correct?
Correct. So now, just to explain, in a sense, this part, okay? So Daniel, okay, so there's kind of two sides going on here. There's, like you just said, they both claim to be together. So if kind of one's culpable, the other's culpable, or they both passed perhaps the polygraph test, and Daniel's could be being truthful, and Malaya's doing her thing. It sounds like, okay, so one of the things in there that somebody, Malaya's sister Haley, had come forward and said that the argument about that afternoon, right after the press conference or during the press conference, she said it was because of the fact of Daniel was doing math. Malaya, 2 months prior, had a U-Haul ready to move her out. Obviously, things weren't, in Lover's Lane, the Love Shack going on. Who knows, right? So, meaning those things matter, obviously, about what was going on in the environment during, that time. And so, Haley comes out and says that Daniel is doing math, whatever you want to call it. And that's what the argument was about, that Daniel says that Malaya's family blames him. Malaya's family blames him. Now, on the other side of the thoughts for this case is the fact that, how do we want to say this, Charmaine, about...
I'm a little bit skeptical about the way he said that he passed his lie detector test, by the way.
I mean, I can pull up that interview.
Yeah, I think you should.
Because that's not how it happens.
Okay. So, well, exactly. So, Charmaine, do me a favor, as I find that, can you tell Daniel about this missing hidden side of it, with just not giving our thoughts, but just the gist of it.
Okay. So there is, just the gist of it. Let me tell you that early on, I reached out to Daniel over Messenger to let him know that, there were people out here that believe him and that support him, and I wish nothing but the best, and blah, blah, blah. I told him I was a YouTuber. He ended up telling me a whole lot of information, and during that conversation, he alluded to the fact that he believes that Malaya's mom, Cindy, could have taken the kids in order to get Malaya to leave him. So since then, both Daniel and other people that are Camp Daniel have come out kind of pushing this narrative that the kids are somewhere alive, being hidden, probably on an Indian reserve, and really no proof. I shouldn't say little to no proof. No proof to back that up. I mean, this case has gone so many different directions. It's hard to just give you a gist of what Daniel, this man, believes is that his mother-in-law basically took these kids in order to get Malaya away from him. And for whatever reason, now they're too scared to come forward and say the kids are okay. That's...
And trying to protect them from CPS.
Trying to protect them from CPS, maybe. But that, I think, came from something that Malaya had said to the paternal grandmother early on. But of course, like from Daniel, he hasn't come across that, well, she's trying to protect them from CPS. That's why. He told me it was because Cindy, like Malaya's mom, I'm sorry, wanted her away from him. So she took Lilly and Jack and are hiding them with family on First Nations land, basically. I don't know how much more of the gist you want of that, because if I get any deeper, I'm going to be spilling my attitude.
Yeah. Well, because it's kind of hard to believe that, right? She froze. She's frozen. Look at that face. Face only a mother could love. We still love you, Shermaine.
You know, okay. So his theory is that
Yes, theory.
his girlfriend's family decided to take the kids and hide them.
Yeah, I don't believe it's so much the mother anymore as much as it is Malaya's like family and friends that came to pick them up, as not so much as it's Cindy anymore. I believe from what Daniel has said now. But yes, so correct. His theory is that there was this time gap, right? Because if we tell you the timeline based on their own words, there would be this gap of time between, say, 9 o'clock to 9:40 area, somewhere in that area would be this gap of time. Basically, that at some point, a close family of Malaya's, let's just keep it at that, we'll say it like that, basically took these babies that and hid them from say CPS, or right, to protect them, and that they're hidden on they're out there somewhere. Believe that they're hidden on the chief's land. So Malaya's family is from the reserve called we'll just shorten it and call it the Shub reservation or reserve. And there's this lady named Michelle, who is the chief of there. Now Malaya's family is from that reserve, and Belinda, the grandmother, reached out to Michelle, the chief, and instead of being cordial to Belinda, she actually more attacked her because she wasn't politically using the right words, apparently. But anyways, so we have all those messages because the chief herself posted Belinda's phone number and messages on Facebook, on her Facebook, right? The chief. Now, again, so there's ties to that. There's really been weird stuff. Malaya has been, according to her, we'll call it her, Cindy is Malaya's mother, and Malaya's mother's partner is named Wade. They've been in a long-term relationship, and a secret video recording of Wade spilling a lot of beans on this case, to his own truth, we'll call it, basically has said that Malaya spends most of her days at the beach. That Malaya, so right, like you said, we don't know someone's reasons or actions why they do things. She's not come out to beg for her children to find them or anything like that, whatever those reasons are. But there was a recent picture posted by her and Cheryl at the beach, and Wade made a comment in his video that he didn't know he was being recorded. And he said she's always at the beach. So it's kind of like, are these the actions of a mother that's grieving, or a mother that knows where the children are? So that's what's causing this strangeness, is by her lack of actions and how she's acting. And that's where this other theory is coming from, that this was more of the children being hidden and protected. Now, that could sound like a fairy tale. Do you want me to play this interview here first and then come back to your thoughts?
Well, no, hold on first. All right. So the thought that, so this guy did he have a drug history? I know you mentioned that a little bit, right? You
know what? I can't say 1000% for certain, but Haley's sister came out and said it. Malaya confirmed it.
Well, does he have a criminal record for it? No, what I'm getting at is like, would it be easier for her to have just left him and took the kid than doing this entire orchestration and this entire thing? Like it seems kind of like a lot of work to do to take somebody's kids away from them in that manner. When, you know, if he had some sort of drug history, CPS had already been called on. I think it would have been a lot easier to put some sort of, I mean, I don't know the laws out there in Canada, but some sort of, not necessarily a restraining order to the extent that a lot of people think, where it's preventing things to that nature, but a restraining order in the sense where out here you put it's like a citation that goes out, and you apply for temporary custody and things of that nature. And if this guy has this past and all these other issues, I think it's a lot easier to gain, custody that way than orchestrating this huge thing. But it's possible. I'm not saying it's not.
Right. Right.
But there's also a caveat here that they were together for about 3 years. They're not married. These are Malaya's kids. He is a stepdad who has no legal right to these kids. So, yeah,
so he's
in my
a
opinion,
stepdad?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch
well,
that.
they call him a stepdad. They call him the stepdad, but they're not married, and they've been together for about 3 years. It's not like he could walk into court and take custody of Jack and Lilly from Malaya. That wouldn't happen.
Yeah, so that kind of doesn't make sense. And as far as the lie detector test, what probably would have happened is, so a lie detector test doesn't necessarily say you're lying or not, right? It makes you nervous, and if there's ever like ticks that one can kind of look at, it's like a tool that law enforcement use in interrogations, so that they can turn around and say, hey, all right, you got nervous here, you shook there, and kind of try to dig and say, hey, well, you're lying, you're trying to get out the truth, and then people will turn around and say, yeah, this or that. It's very rarely do I don't think I've ever heard, and I didn't administer any lie detector tests or anything like that, but I've never heard of a situation outside of somebody like just applying for law enforcement where they tell them you passed or failed in that manner. They usually use it as a tool for interrogation. That's usually
Right.
how it's used.
I also, I could talk to you all day, Daniel. So also with this polygraph test, Daniel here is going to tell you about his experience with the polygraph test. They didn't ask him any baselines. They didn't do any baseline with him. You wait till you hear what questions they asked him.
Yeah. Do you want me to play this?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I got to step away for a few minutes anyway. So, yeah.
Okay. So let's play this. Okay. And just go right to the start. Jack and Lilly.
It's been a long 6 weeks. I know that everybody basically in the world at this point is always wanted to know what happened. It's been from sadness to anger at this point. And I know the RCMP and major crimes are working around the clock trying to piece everything together. And I'm grateful for that. But it always leaves the question, 6 weeks has gone by, and we know at this point they're not in the woods. And where are they?
Did you feel in the beginning that they suspected you?
Of course. The stepfather was always a prime suspect right off the beginning.
You felt that from the beginning?
Yeah.
But you don't feel that now?
No, I don't feel that at all. I asked for the lie detector exam, the polygraph exam. I gave them my phone. I told them I do drug tests because there's a lot of rumors online about a drug party. Mm-hmm. I know the person that said those rumors, and it was just to take the heat off themselves.
Was there any kind of party?
No.
Was there any kind of gathering that someone might have thought was a party?
No.
There were no people at the house?
No, not the night before.
Okay, you mentioned you offered to take a polygraph test.
Yeah.
Did the RCMP take you up on that?
Yes, it did.
And how did that unfold?
That unfolded in my favor. They obviously know I wasn't lying about anything.
So they said, yeah, great, thank you, come in for a polygraph test.
Yeah, it took a little while to set up. And
when did you do that test?
I don't know the exact date, but that would be at least 3 weeks ago, probably.
So roughly 3 weeks after the disappearance.
Yeah.
And I think most Canadians wouldn't have any idea what's involved with that. Can you describe the process? You go in and just tell us right from the start.
We go in, sit down in a big comfy chair, and they have multiple sensory pads. You have them underneath your forearms, you have them underneath your butt, and you have them underneath your feet with your shoes off. You have a sweat gland on one finger. You have a measuring instrument for blood flow that goes in and out of your hand. And you have a cuff on your arm for blood pressure to measure your pulse.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was extremely nervous. Especially with the first question they asked you, did you kill Lilly and Jack?
That was the first question they asked you?
Yeah. Yeah.
What went through your mind when someone's asking you that question so point blank like that?
Your mind has a massive release of chemicals, I guess you would call them. It's like your stress levels just astronomically through the roof, and your body doesn't know what to do because it's not every day the way you're hooked up to machines in an interrogation room where someone asks you questions like that.
What other kinds of questions did they ask you?
All the questions pertain to the death of Lilly and Jack. Are you accessory to the murder of Lilly and Jack? They were all
So all of the questions assumed that the children are no longer alive.
Yeah.
There were no questions at all about, did you take them somewhere? Could
No.
they be somewhere?
No.
The police have done a number of polygraph tests. They've done 53 formal interviews. Do you know who these people are?
Yeah.
That's a lot of interviews.
It is a lot of interviews. A lot of them are my family, people who live in the area. And those interviews, typically my interview was 4 hours. And a lot of the interviews from my family were 1-2 hours. So there's a lot of time taken up and they ask detailed questions.
Do you know who else actually took a polygraph test?
I mean, I do, but I'm not going to say anything that's going to impede the investigation.
Okay. When did you find out the result of your test?
Immediately right after.
What did they say to you?
You did a good job, you passed.
And how did that feel?
Good.
And did you feel that there was any further suspicion on you after that point, or was that sort of conclusive?
No, that was really when I seen the turning point for it starting to taper off with investigators.
Do you know if Malaya has taken one?
I don't know if I can say, but I will anyway. Yes, she did take one.
Okay, she took one. Do you know the result?
No. RCP wouldn't let tell me I asked.
You said you feel like everyone in the world wants to know what happened to Lilly and Jack.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think this is getting so much attention?
Well, just the mysterious and nature of everything and how strange everything is. The RCMP, you know, I mean, they have to keep a tight lip on everything, but there's a lot more that meets the eye with the case.
Is there something that you think the public doesn't know that you can share that you want the public to know?
That's a hard one because I don't want to impede the investigation in any way. It is still missing persons investigation. It hasn't pivoted to any type of criminal investigation. But the kids were seen the day before. I know a lot of people didn't know that. I still see a lot of stuff online that the kids could have been missing for days. They were out of school for days. And they were seen in the Glasgow area on camera the day before disappearance in the afternoon.
Where was that?
I don't know if I can say that, but it was near the Highland Square Mall.
Was it with you?
It was with me, Malaya, and Meadow, and Lilly and Jack were there too.
And are the police aware of that?
The police were aware of that since.
Do they have that video?
Yes, they do. I also talked to my coworker in the parking lot as well, and he verified that with investigators as well. So for all the speculation, they were gone days ahead of time, or they were seen the afternoon on camera before the disappearance.
Why do you think the police are asking for video dating back, days before that?
Well, the reason for that is they want to see the traffic of the vehicles on the roads in the area, right? Maybe vehicles that were traveling that area a lot over the last few days prior to hand, or vehicles that weren't seen in the area, or vehicles that were seen in the area, like local people that are, making frequent trips past the house, or which it's all considered evidence. I mean, the more pictures and videos is the better.
They say they have hundreds of hours of video.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if they found anything on those videos?
I think it was up to 2 weeks ago, they had footage that they examined for evidence that was 8 kilometers diameter out from the house. So that was after a month. That's how long it took to get footage and review it 8 kilometers out. So
but what's on the video?
I don't know. I'm only limited by what they tell me.
How often are they in touch with you?
Investigators now, I'd say maybe once every 5 days. And usually I'm the one who calls or messages them.
And how's that changed over the course of the 6 weeks?
Well, from the beginning, it was almost daily, tapering off to where it's only like once every 5 days now.
And how do you feel about that?
It's good. It's good and bad. I mean, I like to talk to them in person about any little small details I come up with, or anything I can try to bring to their attention, which may help the investigation. So I don't get to see them often. So it's always over phone or messaging, and hard to really convey what you want to say when you're not in person. But then I also know the eye's not on me. The investigators don't see me as part of the disappearance.
How do you know that?
Well, when you're going from daily to tapering off every 5 days, I mean, I've already gave them everything on my phone. I'm the one who originally said, here, take my phone. We'll go through all my banking information. We'll go through all my stuff on my GPS from Google.
And you were offering all that up, right?
Yeah, I offered everything.
And why were you doing that?
To show them that I want to get the investigation moving. I know I have nothing to do with any of it. A lot of speculation is you killed the kids. Was come out and say it straight as it is.
What do you think when you read that?
It's a lot of nonsense, obviously. I know the truth. I didn't kill Lilly and Jack. And I just think a lot of people online they're seeking drama. That's the main thing. Everybody's allowed their own opinion, like I said before, but it's hard on the people that were actually there and missing the children. Still haven't got to see any of my kids, including Lilly and Jack. And that's been really tough, going from a family of 7, including my other 2 kids that live in Halifax now. Going from a family of 7 in the blink of an eye, your family's ripped apart and you're left alone.
Before I ask you, Daniel, you guys, there's 724 people watching this live. Please, again, never do it for the sake of the channel. Please do it always for the murdered and the missing. In this case, it's Jack and Lilly. Your like does make a difference and bring awareness to the case. So thank you guys very much if you could do that. Thank you, Carla Wheeler. This just popped up. Okay, Daniel. Okay, and this is Daniel from the Drunk Turkey Show. Really, truly, we want to hear your thoughts of what you just listened to. And
so I think I was mistaken when I was hearing what he was talking about, or what you guys explained as far as the lie detector test. I do think he did take one based on the information that he gave. He talked about an interview, talked about the interview going for some time. And I'm assuming what that was he sat there. He was absolutely correct about everything, the pressure points, those type of things. The questions are usually given beforehand. Now, again, Canada could be different, but here in the States, they give you the questions beforehand. Every question that they're going to ask, there's no surprises and those type of things. And there's an interview that is conducted after the fact. I noted down that also the mom took a lie detector test as well. Those things are typically not mandatory. You don't have to do those things. Right. These guys don't seem like criminal masterminds that are going to outsmart the police department and have like if this was a crime that occurred, it's probably a crime that wasn't planned out. This was more of like a in the moment type of situation. Maybe something got out of control, something happened. So like it doesn't seem like this would have been a planned out type of event, which I know I've seen in the comment section, maybe he had a burner phone, maybe he had this, maybe he had that. Well, that would indicate a lot of planning and forethought into the crime, that this was going to happen ahead of time. I don't see that being the case. And so I'm not sure. I don't think, I don't know, obviously, what happened out there, but based on what he's saying, I mean, like I said, I don't think these folks are criminal masterminds. Now, is it possible that he mentioned something about drugs, and that he's saying that those things aren't true, and that there was somebody that they got that made up that rumor because they were trying to get the heat off of them? What's that
didn't
about?
Make sense. No, so everything you're saying is exactly what we're saying. They're not criminal masterminds. This wouldn't have been something planned if it goes that route. Let's just say. So basically, there was a posting from a neighbor that said that they lived 500 feet from the Martells here, and McKenzie. So Daniel's mom's last name is Jeannie McKenzie. So, but anyway, so 500 feet, right, on the Google Maps there. This post came out from this neighbor that said that either on Wednesday or Thursday, and I'm thinking more Thursday because Wednesday doesn't make sense because they went and did laundry at Patty's house, and that could easily be confirmed by Patty, the grandmother. But anyways, so this poster basically said that they've always thought that of this place as a crack house. They've never seen the kids. And so basically the post is that they were driving by, the neighbor was driving by, always thought it was kind of like a crack house place, never seen any kids, and put this post out there to say that, maybe there might be never no answers to this case. And that was right near the start. Now, this never made sense to me. Why would Daniel say, like, he was the person, the neighbor was just trying to take off the heat off themselves, right? So the neighbor says that on Wednesday or Thursday, they remember about 2 p.m. in the afternoon, there was a bunch of vehicles, including one on the side of the road, right? And so Daniel Martel had answered to that and said, well, not that night, basically, like Thursday. So yes, why would you say something like that? What does that even mean? Like, it's almost like Daniel's trying to say, well, this house does drugs, and they're trying to take their heat off the south by pointing to us over here. And Janie and Daniel's mother, when Janie was talking, said that they believe this person comes into their yard, steals things and stuff like that. Right? That's an odd statement to make, and it always too didn't make sense to me what exactly he meant by that, because it's strange. 2 children are missing, and you're saying that they're just deflecting to try to take heat off themselves. So yeah, same exact question thing going, wait, right? What did that even mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was interesting, because I think that there's a possibility there also that is drugs prevalent in this area? Is that something like that's a problem in that area?
Yeah.
I very well could see the possibility of somebody going to that house, seeing the kids, maybe having the wrong house, maybe having the right house, upset about something and doing something stupid. I think that's still pretty high possibility, even if, let's just say, it's a neighbor's house that is involved in drugs. Somebody's upset with those people, end up at the wrong place, wrong time. There was a case out here not too long ago where some people broke into a house and shot up like 3 people and then took off, and ended up being they got the wrong house, and
Yeah, I remember that.
They were looking for another home, and that was drug related, and it was some random situation, and they just broke into the wrong house and killed the wrong people that had nothing to do with it. And so those possibilities exist. I'm interested as far as that goes. But I'm it sounds like he gave up his phone and his information and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Does he come off, just to ask you bluntly, just by watching this and the other ones you've seen of Daniel, does this interview come off to you, if you're by your own gut instinct, as yourself, does it come off as that he's mostly, for the most part, being truthful?
I haven't noticed any deception from him.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's not, but I don't.
Right.
I haven't noticed any deception. I'd have to watch more. I mean, this is just I'm taking him for his word. I haven't seen something that's contradictory to what he's saying yet, and then seeing how he responds to it. Right. You know what I mean? That's going to be that's when you can kind of tell is if somebody's lying or this or that, is when you have something that says, hey, that's not accurate, and then seeing what their response is. At this point, I mean, he was asleep with his. It sounds like he was asleep with his girlfriend.
And
to me, right? To me, if he has involvement in it, or if something nefarious happened, and they both would be involved, it sounds like they're starting to kind of blame each other, yes, which is a little weird. But,
well, he thinks that the children are alive still. He believes that, regardless of who say took these children, that they are being basically hidden, and that so he basically thinks that, yeah, like that, because let's see here, do I want to add a little bit more to this without going into a bunch of speculation, you know what I mean, that stuff. Okay, so there was that pink blanket that we spoke about. Now, that pink blanket was in the garbage can. Now, Daniel says he didn't notice that pink blanket. Remember, he said he searched all roads and culverts and all those different things. So he said he did not see it when he was out searching. But somehow this pink blanket later in the afternoon grew and wings and flew and landed in this tree. So if you were to talk to Daniel more so about this, so he lied at first and said that the pink blanket didn't belong to Lilly. And then he retracted it later and said that it was part of Lily's. Now, the reason that was said by Darren, who is another relative, is because he feels like the Malaya Brookside is trying to set him up as, look at him. but really the kids are, over here being hidden. And so it's these weird actions as well by the mother. She's not like for all intents and purposes. And right. And again, Daniel, you're hitting the nail on the head to what our thoughts are as well in a ton of ways. Me and Charmaine wanted to believe Daniel right from the get-go. Whereas Malaya's interview struck us as very odd. It was weird, a lot of red flags, not saying the names, not begging for the kids. So here you have that happening, but you also have Daniel, who has been inconsistent because he does spend time in true crime, coming into this channel, to Facebook groups, to Dolly's channel, to Clutch Them Pearls channel. And he keeps saying things, right? Little blurbs here and there, but there was never any proper timeline. So instead, there's these inconsistencies. Now, we always asked him, to Daniel, do you want to clear up any of these inconsistencies?
What kind of inconsistencies? Because I mean, obviously I haven't. I mean, I've only seen like 3 interviews, so I haven't seen.
Okay.
I have no idea what the inconsistencies are.
So I guess the main inconsistency would be like, if you're asked about a pink blanket, why would you not tell the truth and say that it wasn't Lily's? And Malaya, the mother, said she believed it was, and then the reason for that was because he didn't want to be set up for a trap, that they were trying to, put a piece of evidence out there and tried to make it seem like Daniel did it.
That?
Yeah.
He said a trap?
Well, the same idea, same thing. Like, I'm just using loosely the words, but the whole idea was that a pink blanket was found in the trees, that blanket was in the garbage can. Another thing that was said was that I think in the trailer, 5 items were missing, and he believed it to be Malaya's side of the family that was planting evidence. And he made this really weird comment that said, actually, Charmaine, do you want to say that one? I think you can probably say it better than I will. About the sweaters, the shirts. Charmaine?
I think she's on mute.
Okay, so yeah. She's obviously like doing something else. Anyway, so I'll give you the gist of it. Daniel was in Dolly's chat, and he made the comment basically that if the children are found, whether that be alive or dead, with these 2 sweaters, and then he said t-shirts, that they were planted. So the children
if they were found with these specific clothing, that it was planted. Is that the gist of it?
Well, yeah. He said, so basically it was said, he was trying to say there that somebody took some articles, and that if his blue shirt and his white shirt were found with the children, that they were planted to make it look like he was guilty. And he, according to Darren, the one that was talking for Daniel, said that Daniel was smart, and he went to the RCMP and he let them know about those articles ahead of time in case the children were found with those 2 articles. So, I mean, no matter how you slice and dice it, that's really weird stuff to say.
Yeah.
But, so.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I'm still like I said, it's I'm fairly new, guys. I know I've seen some people who are kind of saying some things. I don't know everything in this case. I don't. There's quite a bit I don't know. So I'm just kind of looking at it based on the interviews that he has said. The information. I would have assumed they would have gotten his phone. They would have geo-tracked his phone, done all those things, and if there is video of those kids with him, and they're alive the day before they go missing. I know it's suspicious that they didn't go to school the days before, but if they're there on video, it's not because they're gone. They're still there. You know what I mean?
At that point.
And so I'm not going to hang on to the fact that they missed school and say that was because they were already gone. That's not true. Now, I find it odd that they kept both the kids out. So I wonder if there was, if CPS had already been called because of a bruise. I wonder if there was another bruise that popped up and they decided to keep both kids home, because of something. Now, kids get bruises. You know, kids end up with black eyes. I've had my fair share when I was a young little boy. You know, my youngest daughter right now, she's 2. She climbs on things and jumps off, and she's got bruises on her arms and legs because she likes to jump from one place to another. Those things happen. You know, I don't know. Is there a proven history of drug use with this man? I know that a lot of people have pointed that out or pointed to that.
Well, again, all we can go by is that Daniel doesn't have, I think he has a weed charge back in 2011 or something like that.
Okay.
If I'm correct, there's no, right, exactly. So no, there's no other criminal charges. And so recently, like I said, so Haley had come forward, Malaya's sister, her half sister, and said that that the reason why there was this altercation, the truth is that and this is by Haley, she was saying that Daniel was in the bathroom and the Malaya Brookside, Cindy and all that were in the trailer, and that they heard noise, that Daniel seemed to be making a lot of noise in the bathroom, that one of them went to want to use the bathroom and that came out. And so Haley, during this argument, whatever, said, like, to Malaya, according to Haley, said basically, what the fuck's going on? And, you know, like, tell me the truth, type of thing. And that's when she said, Malaya said that Daniel had been doing meth for 2 years. Now, in saying that, Malaya answered some questions the other day with me, and she said that she learned that Daniel had been doing meth when she was getting induced for their daughter, Meadow, who's about 18 months at this point. But anyways, and so, and then Wade, which is Malaya's mother's partner, Wade, said that not only, this is, again, we don't know if this is true, but not only does he use it, he sells it and he makes it. Now, that could be false or it could be true, but that's what we've heard about the whole, you know, abuse, or, you know, what's the word I'm looking for, Daniel?
So if he made it, they searched the property and stuff, right? Did they find anything?
They went back. Yeah, no.
Not any evidence, not a speck of anything.
No,
not a drop of chemical.
From what we know, no. Belinda was talking to the detective, and they said that they have no suspects and that that drugs didn't seem to be part of this case, or nothing to do with drugs. Yeah. So, you know,
I mean, to me, like, just preliminary, like right now, I would be leaning towards the kids walked away somewhere and either somebody picked them up or they've walked off somewhere and they can't be found. I'm not feeling a strong notion that the mom and dad or stepdad had something to do with it. Not yet. I haven't seen everything yet.
Right.
I need to see the contradicting stuff and see how they react to those things. But it sounds to me that, again, these don't seem like meth dealers and meth heads they're not criminal masterminds. They don't hide things. This isn't like Brian Koberger, who can, has experience and knowledge in cleaning up a crime scene, and that would be able to completely clean a crime scene in a manner where you couldn't find his DNA or their DNA or a speck of blood or a speck of powder from some of the chemicals that are required to make meth, those type of things. You know, I mean, it seems like it's unlikely that those things are involved without some sort of minute evidence of it out there, based on, you know, who these individuals are. And again, I don't know who they are. Maybe one of them does have some sort of experience in law enforcement or in criminal justice or in forensics or something of that nature that can pull something off like this. But to me, it seems more likely that, because I was thinking about it, it's like, well, if they were making it, maybe the kids came across something and they passed away in that manner. But to not have any sign of that or at all. I mean, I'm sure did they take dogs out there by any chance?
They did, but not cadavers, right? They just took out scent dogs. It's not like, but that's up in the air with the cadaver dog whole thing. Now, Belinda Gray, like I said, that's in chat right now. That's the paternal grandmother. Her son is the paternal father of Jack and Lilly. He's had nothing to do with the children for 3 years, and he had, like I said, nothing to do with it as far as the police were concerned. He was interviewed 3 times. Now, so Belinda was just speaking to a detective the other day, and they said that they had no suspects, and the police said that they aren't looking at drugs as part of the investigation.
But they are or aren't?
Aren't.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So now, and then she said they're looking into everything. So Danielle, at one point, okay, so they definitely brought in scent dogs, okay? And at one point, and they did search send it in a dive team, in to check this lake or whatever area. Now, the cadaver dogs has been up in the air because they said that they might consider bringing in cadaver dogs. We don't know if they did or if they didn't. They just did an update recently because they have like 11 people work, detectives on the major crime unit, and all these people that are working on the case. Okay. So, and then they just added a few more, and they just kind of gave us an update. They didn't say anything about cadaver dogs being used ever, only that they may bring them in. Now, what's the chances that they might have used a cadaver dog, but didn't want to tell the public about it? What is the chance?
I mean, that's probably high. I don't know how secretive things are in Canada, but I would want to keep things like that secret if I was, investigating this case. I would like to keep a lot of things close to the vest, unless, well, that's me. That's if I'm assuming that there's a possibility of something nefarious. Now, I know a lot of people are saying in the chat, was like, oh, well, they were searching for kids, not for dogs. Yeah, but you also search for evidence. You're also searching for evidence of something nefarious happened. You're searching for evidence of the likely outcome. You're searching for things like that. So it's more than just, oh, I'm just going to look for kids. If I see this blue powder or this white powder, pink powder, green stuff over here, I'm just going to put some blinders and not look. That's not how it works. You're going to be looking for evidence of likely outcomes of what happened or what could have happened. And if, first thing that everybody comes into everybody's mind, including myself, was, all right, well, was there a history of drugs? And if there was, could these kids have been involved? Could they have accidentally come across something and OD'd on something by accident? And, they panicked and they got rid of, the bodies and the evidence from that.
That's
okay.
exactly it. Right.
Well, they got his phone, right? Where's the purchases? Where's the text messages? There would be evidence of some of those type of things, of that lifestyle. And so, those things, and especially if it was drug related and those type of things, those are easy cases to solve. Those are not very difficult. This seems a little bit more complex.
It is. And that's what's crazy, because we're at that same spot, right? It's kind of like us having to build our own timeline because their timeline never made sense. Now, I do want to let everyone know in chat, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. After the live earlier, Kent was talking with Daniel, and Daniel gave a lot more of a timeline. I spent over 2 hours myself. Daniel messaged me, I messaged him to say, here's the 10:01 time call, because Kent said that he thought it was earlier than that. And Daniel has never messaged me, but he did message me a couple screenshots today of the kids in school. So I want to let you guys know that on Monday, once we get a timeline, I don't like to foolishly put out information without doing it properly. So I want to take, so Daniel and me spoke for 2.5 hours, pretty much, about 2 hours in Messenger. So that will be shared. All of that. I asked Daniel, can this information be shared? He said, Sonny, I got nothing to lose. So go ahead and put it out. So I will.
This Daniel?
This Daniel. Yes. He's never spoken to me. He spoke to Charmaine, who obviously I think fell asleep over there. He spoke to Charmaine. So I had messaged Daniel prior to Charmaine, but I never said that I knew Belinda at all. I didn't use her.
And who's Belinda?
Belinda's the mother, the paternal grandmother of Jack.
That's right. Yeah.
So I had said to I sent him a message. Now, when Charmaine messaged Daniel, she had said, like, basically our channel talks to Belinda, right? Now, I had never said that. So then because Charmaine said it, I ended up saying that to Daniel too, but he just never entertained my messages. And I thought, okay, well, maybe he feels a connection more with Charmaine. But anyways, I mean, this man is clearly in love with Malaya, regardless. And there is this weird stuff going on. Well, why are you caring so much about this relationship, when Jack and Lilly are missing? But I'm going to take this as this. This is a man that's in love with Malaya. Simple as that, right? Now, he doesn't feel like Malaya is the person involved in the disappearance of Jack and Lilly as much as these children are being hidden to protect them because of CPS. So like you touched on, Daniel, is that there obviously was a CPS with a black eye with Jack and some scratches on his face. Belinda, the paternal grandmother, has seen these pictures. Now, obviously, again, you're a teacher, you have to report this stuff. Anyways, it was a news reporter that showed Belinda the pictures. So obviously, I would think that they would be quite worried if was it Lilly or Jack that got the black eye, the second one? Lilly, that she pressed
Second
down.
one?
Yes. So Jack went to school with a black eye and some scratches. So Daniel had said that it was because of behavioral learning things or whatever, right? When really I think the truth here is that Jack went to school with some cuts and a black eye. Now, again, on the Wednesday before they disappeared, they were at their grandmother, a great grandmother, Patty's house. Okay, that's the mother of Cindy Brooks, Malaya. Cindy's the mother of Malaya. Patty's the grandmother to Malaya. So it would be the great grandmother to Jack and Lilly. Okay, so so Daniel actually said this without us knowing ourselves. He said that Lilly pushed down on like a toy, a truck or something, like Tonka truck or something, or a toy, and it hit her in the eye. And so that's when it became into question. Well, okay, so she did have a cough, or were they scared that CPS might deem them? And that's why Malaya was perhaps getting these kids out of here. Remember, she wanted out of the relationship prior to this, okay? So,
okay, I didn't know that.
So is she trying to protect these kids from CPS, and she's hidden them now? Is kind of, I believe, the gist that Daniel believes that she has them hidden. So it wouldn't shock me if it equated to this other black eye, and that Malaya was afraid she was going to lose her children, and this relationship wasn't obviously the love shack one going on, at least not for her. So what do you think of the potential that Malaya or family members would have said to Malaya, you need to get out. We're going to come get Jack and Lilly, right? And we're going to make sure
Do they have her phone?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I doubt, I mean, they would have had to have been phone calls. I think there would have been a history and log of those phone calls, and those would have been suspicious. Like, all right, you're making these phone calls throughout this time. The black eye, let's just say, let's work it through, right? Let's just say the black eye happened in the manner that you say, or that there was another injury and that they were concerned. There would have been a series of phone calls that were going back and forth throughout this time. I would have definitely questioned those phone calls or text messages, those type of things, those contacts that were happening for that to have occurred. I do think that there's a high possibility that may have been the reason why they withheld them from school. I think it's weird that if one gets sick, that they're going to withhold both of them from school. I think that's odd. So I did think that was a, when you mentioned that there was a CPS with a black eye, the first thing that came to my mind was, well, did something else happen? And they were concerned and they didn't want to take the kids back to school because of that. And I think there's a possibility of that. That probably makes more sense outside of the fact that I think there would have been some sort of coordination that would have taken place. You mentioned that coordination. There should be some evidence of that coordination, phone calls, text messages, a phone history of some sort of that communication days leading up to the disappearance. And I wonder if that's prevalent in the investigation. If it's there, right, then you probably have an avenue to go down if you're an investigator. I doubt that it's there, because it seems like if it was there, that seems like something that's easy to trace. Like, all right, hey, all right, we have these people. Now let's go look into their history. Let's go look into things that were happening. Let's look into let's try to get neighbors' video cameras and stuff like that. And you can do a canvassing. All right, did you see these kids come over here on this time, and where did they go since? Because it's been several months now. They obviously would have had to have left from that area to somewhere else. Where are they now? Where's that? I find it less likely, but it's possible. I mean, they are young, so it is possible. But there would have had to have been like movements that would have had to have occurred, and canvassing and those type of things. Again, I don't know if any of these folks are criminal masterminds.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's a possibility of something like that possibly happening where they're like, all right, we're going to hide these kids from CPS. But at this length of time, I don't know if they would still be successful in doing something like that, and also covering up the coordination that would have been required to do something like that.
Right. It is. I mean, it's a stretch for sure. You know, because let me go ahead.
I mean, like I said, I think that in a short term, it's much more plausible. But over this length of time, to continually kept up with that and still maintain the ability of hiding these kids from law enforcement who now have eyes on them, that's kind of I think that would be difficult.
Even I know you probably don't know as much about this, Daniel, but on a reservation, you think, like, do you know anything much about reservations in the U.S.? Even though I know
in the U.S., yeah. So those things can. I have friends who worked in different reservations out here in Texas who are law enforcement on reservations. I get it. You know, people can disappear, and especially on those type of things. But if you have your eye on the right people and you start investigating them in the right manner, and you have their phones and you have their equipment, it's not that hard to trace some footsteps. And I think that there would have been at least something that would have pointed in the direction of a criminal investigation needing to be happening. Have they opened up a criminal investigation, or is this still just considered a missing persons?
They're considering it a missing person. So basically their comment was this. When after they did the search in the woods, they basically came out with the comment that if the children were in the woods, they wouldn't be alive, right? I mean,
I understand that, yeah.
Right, exactly. So because they're not, there's still this chance that they could be in the woods. They're not at this moment saying that it's simply a criminal element. A police officer that did speak basically had said that right. I mean, it was kind of, I thought obvious, but basically that there's only two things here, that it's either they're somewhere in the woods, right? That the children went somewhere in the woods, or it's a criminal investigation. He said that there's only two elements to this. And so again, I mean, the abduction thing obviously has been on the very lowest scale, according to what Janie was saying. And she's the mother that's lived on the property for 26 years. She's like, there's nobody that came up and sat there and took these two kids. It's just not going to happen, basically, right? And again, there's no footprints or anything from the scent dogs for them to even say. Or remember, it's raining.
It was raining. I was going to say, though, it was raining, so I don't know how that would affect the dogs. Right. That could have had a huge effect. I'm not familiar with that. No,
they don't. Only because of the Sebastian Rogers case. Because I learned a lot about the dogs during that point of time. Is absolutely not. It would not really impact the case at all if it was raining.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just feel that, like, you know, water hitting onto dirt, it picks up smells and picks up a lot of things. I mean, even humans can detect rain because of the smells from the water, you know, hitting onto the ground.
Right.
But I'm not familiar with how that would affect a dog in one form or fashion.
Yeah. I mean, Canine Jewels. It's just that because the Sebastian Rogers case is eerily similar out of Tennessee there, right?
Summer Wells sounds similar to this too.
It's Summer Wells as well. Summer Wells on this one. But, you know, again, Daniel, like, I mean, and I don't want to keep you much longer here. Maybe 9 more minutes if we can. We'll kind of hit that 2 hour mark. But I love what you're saying because, you know, because of the inconsistencies in the timeline, it's created a lot of havoc. And you ask yourself why. If you want the truth out there, then why can we just not get the factual timeline? Like, okay, so 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, the kids eat, 7 to 8, they go to bed, 12 o'clock, you check in on them. These are only things coming out now, but meaning if you want the public's help, right? And you want to bring awareness and you want the public to understand, did you, Danielle and Malaya, do something to these children? Give us a timeline that makes sense, not all sporadic all over the map, right? And so how do you expect people to believe in you if none of you guys can be accurate to a timeline and there's too many holes in the timeline to suggest, like you said, you're looking at the fact, okay, was there drugs involved? Did the kids, die in the middle of the night because there was some drugs laid out? And you know how it is with fentanyl, you smell it and it's gone, whatever, right? So it's all these questions that keep going through our heads. And because of Daniel's inconsistencies when he is talking. So let's take the blanket. Then there's another statement of that he spent all this time on the ATV driving 20 to 30 acres to search for the kids. And then he says he wasn't on the ATV, that his mom said he was only on the top of the ATV. And it's kind of like this whole time I've just been saying, Daniel, like, honestly, you have to tell people if things are, obviously not right and you want to clear it up. He never took those opportunities at all. And instead it just muddied the water even more. And we could see it from the outside looking in, but it was just the inconsistencies. Now, again, I want to say this, me and Charmaine always felt that Daniel, regardless of there's going to be white lies, that he was telling the truth for a long time, because to me, I am not far off that I so misjudge somebody. It doesn't happen in my life, right? So so for me, I was struggling because of Daniel's inconsistencies in his stories and timeline. Then I was like, look, you know what? All these people are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They don't know how to tell a timeline if their life depended on it. Jack and Lily are missing. Why don't these people care enough to either talk and say what happened? That way they can get the universe basically behind them and try to help understand what happened to Jack and Lily and what time that they could have possibly disappeared around, right? But that wasn't happening. But it's because of the inconsistencies and Daniel not wanting to clear up his inconsistencies that it was, well, where do you go from there? Malaya's hiding, or whatever she's doing, going to the beach or whatever she's doing. And you got Daniel who's doing all these interviews and you're just like, what the heck is going on in Looney Town? Right. So that's how it's been feeling. And so, again, I never have been so off base on a person. Okay. That's not to float my own back and pat myself on the back there or float my own boat. It's me. Ever since I was a child, Daniel, I have read people's emotions in a sense. I could feel their auras around me. So if somebody's a douchebag, I will let you know that they're a lying douchebag. If they are nice, kind, and sweet, I will let you know. If I say don't be friends with this person, it's because I know that they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes. So for me and Charmaine even, and a couple other good people that have very good instinct, I found it hard to believe that I was that far off of what I deemed was somebody that was, maybe not, no one's perfect. We know that. Relationship shit, right? Whatever. But he didn't come across as being angry. He didn't come across as, anything but for the most part sincere. I looked at photos of him on Facebook from his dad's Facebook, and there's always a child that he was in pictures holding his other children all the time. And so I saw this as a person that maybe their relationship ain't so great, but I saw this as a person that was being truthful, but then because of the inconsistencies, I was like, no, like what the frick is going on here? So, but yet, so I'm listening to you.
But people are going to be inconsistent. Like that's just part of the thing. I mean, we can look at the Richard Allen case. Yes. You had 3 girls that were walking out of a park while Richard Allen was walking in. These 3 girls saw the same guy. They documented their information on there. about what they saw, and all three of them had a different story, and none of them obviously had anything to do with the crime. It's just they weren't prepared. Now, this is a little bit different, obviously, but you have a lot of things that are going on. You probably have a lot of panic setting in. You have a lot of emotions. You're probably going up and down. Let's just say that he had nothing to do with the crime. Let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. You wake up and your kids are missing. I mean, do you know what you feel when you go into a store and your kid isn't there, and you look around the corner and then you find him, and the relief you get? So imagine that 10 times more. And now you're searching through the woods and you're searching for things. You're not going to remember everything. So inconsistencies are going to happen. You have to put yourself in those situations for that moment. Some people handle things differently. I think that there's a possibility that the mom, it sounds like she's, I don't think she thinks that, or I don't know about now, but I think that she's accepted the fact that maybe perhaps her child has gone off, and their children went off and they're no longer alive because they're in the woods somewhere, right? And they walked off. If you look at, for instance, in the Brian Koberger case, you had the Gonsalves family who were very proactive out there in the media wanting answers, didn't want the plea deal. And then you had the Chapins who were didn't want to even go to court, didn't want to go to trial, didn't want to face any of it. They went to their Paradise Creek cabin so that way they wouldn't be bothered by media and by people. And so they went to their vacation home that nobody knew about, that they had just recently purchased, and stayed there hidden from media and everybody else. And so people act differently when it comes to trauma and when it comes to those type of things. His inconsistencies in the timelines of that day, I think the expectations probably need to be tempered down a little bit, given the fact that they were probably going through an emotional roller coaster if they're not involved, right? And even if they are involved, they probably were as well. But giving them the benefit of the doubt, because I haven't seen these contradictions. I don't want people to attack me. I haven't seen them yet. This is the very first. I'm intrigued. I'm interested in this, so I'm going to start looking into this case. I'll look into all of the interviews and stuff like that, so that way I can keep up. But looking at it from just on the bare face, what I've seen, some people were asking me what my opinion is based on this. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there was something there. Maybe if there was a black eye, maybe they got into an argument. Maybe they did withhold him from that. Maybe the kids were like, I want to go to grandparents because they're mean, or whatever the case may be. Maybe he's mad. He got upset, got physical. They walked off. Now, did they get lost, or did somebody pick them up from there? It doesn't seem like the law enforcement believes that somebody picked them up. I'm sure they've done a geofence and pulled in all of the phones that were in the area during that specific time. And try to cross-reference who those people and individuals were. That shouldn't be too difficult to do. Obviously, somebody could have had their phone off, but if somebody had their phone off, that's an indication of premeditation, which doesn't sound like this scenario. I feel like if something happened here, it wasn't a premeditated, like if it was somebody outside of the family, like if this was somebody who abducted the kids, somebody who randomly came across from them, this would have been a moment of opportunity, even if they pulled up and saw them in the yard or something like that. So this doesn't sound like premeditation to the point where they would have had their phone off or things like that. If this is an outside person that committed this crime. So it sounds like to me, the focus point, have they searched anywhere else? Has law enforcement been seen searching any?
Well, we don't know exactly what they're doing. Again, unlike the States, that gives us a lot more information and updates. We know that the initial searches we told you about, obviously they're doing stuff in the background for sure, but we don't have any information to that. Daniel says that they update him and he talks to them all the time, and that they obviously Daniel said that they outright came out and told them that we know you had nothing to do with this. Again, bold claims, and if they're true, maybe they did, because we got to kind of sometimes a little bit, I think, Daniel, think about it like this: if this was in New York or Chicago or any place like that, or Vancouver, you're not going to have no freaking buddy cop type of thing. But when you are in a rural area like this place of Pictou County, right, your neighbor is going to be the warden, your neighbor is going to be a cop or something like that, where things could maybe be more trusting and giving out more forthright information, perhaps, being from a little community versus a big community type of idea. That's kind of the vibe I get, and hence why perhaps they told Belinda about that there's no suspect, that drugs are not a part of the investigation, and Darren also had a visit to the RCMP recently, and they said the same thing to him. So then it becomes okay, right? Like if there's nothing to do with drugs in the investigation, right? Because that was a big thing, really. Just trying to take out whatever truth you can pick apart from all the nonsensical stuff and stuff like that. Now, there are a bunch of people that believe that the children were taken and hidden is a plausible line. A lot of people probably believe it because it gives hope that the children are still alive, Jack and Lily.
I don't buy that.
Hey.
I don't. I mean, the only way that's possible is if there was some people that, like, it's one thing if it's like a sex trade and they get passed on from one person to another, that, and then they get sold, and then somebody else and somebody else. But if it's like some sort of like they're hidden within family, and there's phones that are connected, and there's like people have phones and things of that nature, it's highly unlikely. I sincerely doubt that a family member of one of the either the step-parent, stepfather, or the mother have them, and they're secretly hiding them, and law enforcement can't find it at this point. I see that as less than 1% chance being plausible.
And that's kind of where we're at, like when we talk about this. And it's because you're trying to take reality and put it into perspective by what typically would happen in cases like this. Now, if so the one option, like you just brought up, right, about the trafficking. Okay, so does that seem like a plausible thing? Well, it's probably more plausible that way than thinking that family members and friends are hiding the children.
I would agree to that. I would say that there's probably a higher possibility but that would again be a crime of opportunity. Somebody driving by that just so happens to be a sex trafficker and sees these kids on the side of the road and says, "Hey, I got these kids." I mean, the blanket and the shoes, based on those pinpoints that you put out there, don't seem too far off of the roadway, and so I can see that being a possibility. But then again, if you're looking at a crime of opportunity, this person isn't driving around like anticipating to find these young children on the side of the road. There's a good possibility they have their phone on, and so if they have their phone on there, first thing that I would have done is got a warrant from AT&T, T-Mobile, all the cell towers in the area, and then pulled in all of the phones and then cross-referenced those phone numbers with sex offenders and things of that nature, and see if there's some sort of correlation with those people being involved in the area during the time of the possible abduction.
Right.
That's the first step that you take. It's not a very difficult one, especially if this is a crime of opportunity like that. You would probably find a lead somewhat quickly if you're doing it right, if they did it right. I'm not familiar with how the process of things work out there in Canada and how easy it is to get a warrant there or not. That would have been a very simple warrant to get and a very easy one to get a judge to sign off in the States. And you're looking in a rural area too, so it's not like it's highly populated, so you would have been able to you're limited by the amount of phones that are probably going to be in the area during that specific time. So I think it would have been not very difficult to track down if that was the case.
Right there. Now, okay, option. Just an option. So they owe $34,000 according to Wade, the stepdad. They're down on their luck. Stuff like that. I mean, it's been said that Daniel wasn't fond of Jack, and sometimes Lily, even Malaya was kind of talking about that. Okay. Chances of these parents getting rid of them to sell them for trafficking purposes so that they could make money, because these children are just a pain in the ass, and then they want to just keep little baby Meadow. What's the chance of that being even likely?
So again, they have their phones, they have their equipment. There would be something that was leading up to that conversation happening. And I know some people might say, well, they got burner phones or they did this or that. Well, there would have had to have been something that would have led them to be comfortable enough to purchase a burner phone. Yeah, to something to be comfortable to purchase a burner phone to do those type of things. It's kind of like how, what do you call it? Like these people that get caught trying to hire murder for hire type of situation. Once they get to their phone, even if they use these messaging apps, a lot of these people aren't, like, for instance, like I covered the Brian Kober case. That guy was an expert in forensic cloud data stuff, and he couldn't get everything off of his phone.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I strongly doubt that that's going to end up being the case here.
So,
my best, like, I don't know everything. I don't know everything, and I do know when people don't have answers and people are nervous or people are scared, they end up blaming each other. There was a case that happened here in San Antonio where and it was an unfortunate situation, and this one had drugs involved and things of that nature. There was a young lady who was supposed to be induced, and she never showed up. Her and her boyfriend, they end up finding them both deceased, shot. And the family, before they found them and before they found the killer, one family member, one side of the family started to blame the other side of the family, and they went back and forth, and come to find out it was both of them. They were both involved heavily in the drug game. There was the mom to be actually is the one who set up the drug transaction with the person, and ended up being, in my opinion, based on the evidence from what I have seen, it sounds like the guy that ended up committing the murders, he was, I think he had feelings for the mom to be, and it turned into a situation. In my opinion, what it sounds like, even based off of what he was saying, and I know he's not being honest and he was minimizing things. My thought is that the guy probably set up the drug deal with the mom to be. The dad to be didn't like that and tried to punk him, and it turned into something deadly. But before they found the guy that committed this crime, both sides of the family were starting to blame the other side. They were throwing things at each other, and then yes, to a certain extent that they were right because they were both involved, but it was heavily off of the mom to be. Like, her family was really, really blaming his family, and it was, she was the one that actually set up the drug deal. And so it was families will blame each other, and I know that's probably not the best example because that had drugs and stuff involved, but that was found out immediately. I mean, the guy got arrested within a couple of weeks because there was a trail online. There was a trail through their phones, and they used messaging apps like WhatsApp and things like that are encrypted. And yet everything was found out, and everything had came out. And within a couple of weeks, the guy was arrested. And so,
but this is like 3 months.
Yeah. This has gone 3 months now. This is a rural area, rural law enforcement, so that makes a difference.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It is. If I had to make a guess now, I would say that the kids walked away from that house for one reason or another. And it appears that they were going towards grandparents, and something happened on the way out there.
Just off the surface, yeah.
Yeah, that's just my preliminary thoughts, just based on what I see, and just kind of deducing the information that we have and deducing the likely outcomes if there was something that happened. I do think that there's a possibility that maybe, although I don't know them, so I don't want to say, oh yeah, they committed some sort of abuse or anything, but there is the possibility that maybe there was a black eye at one point. They were held out of school. Did something happen? Did the kids run away because of something?
Yeah, they put out up to $150K reward, and nobody's claimed that yet.
That's true. I mean, money talks too. I mean, that'll get people interested in talking, especially if money is an issue, and most people that have, like, if this was drug related and things of that nature, people have to pay their habit. They'll see $150,000, and if they know something, they'll say something sometimes. I mean, obviously fear can also control that, but I just don't see that being a situation here with this being, I don't think this is drug related, especially once they have their phones and things like that nature. I don't see it. I'm not seeing that connection. I think that the kids walked away, whether that was, now I do think that there's a possibility that somebody pulled up on them and took them out of a random act of opportunity. I just kind of strongly doubt that as well. Not as much as the drug stuff and things at this point. I put that higher than that, but not too high in my list of possible likely outcomes of what occurred here. And it sounds like law enforcement are on that page based on what you're telling me. They're not thinking drugs are involved.
Is there another possibility, Daniel, that we're not thinking of?
Oh, 100%. There's always a possibility that we're not thinking of. You have to be open to those type of things, because if not, then you're going to miss the the biggest clue that could possibly be in front of you. And I 100% admit I know very little about this case. Very, very little. And so
No, exactly.
my opinion can definitely be swayed one way or another based on the evidence. But I follow the evidence.
Right. Absolutely. And that's what I like. I like the facts, right? Like that's what I live for the most off any case, like Sebastian Rogers, Delphi. You want to always go to what was said near the start, the facts. Now, for me, it's always about no matter if you believe that the family is lying to you or not. I want to take all in the information from what the family is saying, each and every one of them. I'm very appreciative of that because regardless, at the end of the day, besides the RCMP and, type of thing, is that you just want to hear from what the family members are saying and try to make sense out of a possibility of what happened to these children. Because I like to be, like that little Snoop Dogg in there, because that stuff interests me because details mean a lot to me, right? So just like Charmaine, you look at every freaking angle that you have of information and go, okay, was it, by chance drugs? Did the drugs kill the children? And it's a cover up, right? Was there an argument that happened that day? Malaya, could she have possibly did this a whole contrived thing that goes into left field, but is it plausible? Right? Because these actions are weird. There's strange things definitely going on. So yeah. So it's kind of just like all that we have to go on is really anything that Daniel, Malaya, Belinda, Haley, Logan, all these people that are family members, Darren, are trying to tell us and try to find some sort of truth in this muddle of messy water, right? And it's hard because you're asking yourself, why isn't anyone being just honest with the timeline? Why? That's what's killing me about this all.
Yeah, I know, and I understand that. I just don't. I think my expectation on their information on the timeline is, it's. I think there should be an expectation there as far as like major points, but the finer details of things are going to be kind of hard to pull up. But like I mentioned, there should be evidence of some stuff. Like that's why I'm like, to me, I'm kind of deducing it down to like just a handful of options because they have their phones, there's communication. Like if there was a problem, like where are the text messages? Like where's my money? Where's my shipment? Where's my drugs? Where's this? Where's that show that there was a problem? Now there is the possibility that somebody could have mistaken identity, like I mentioned before, where there was a situation here in San Antonio where a person broke into the wrong house and shot up 3 people. And they were 3 innocent people and they thought they were involved in some sort of drug activity. Those things happen. Maybe perhaps somebody, saw the area, was directed to the area. If that area is full of drugs, maybe they had the wrong house. I mean, people on drugs don't make the best decisions all the time. They also don't make the right choices. They also don't have the right answers. You tell somebody, yeah, it's on this street and this is the color of the house and they're high on drugs. They probably can get things wrong. And so, I can see that being a situation. Maybe perhaps the kids were outside. Somebody was upset with somebody else in the neighborhood, pulled up, thought that this was the right house and abducted the kids, panicked, and, obviously isn't going to just let them go because they're going to get caught now. So, a whole big scenario can occur out of that. That's a possibility. I find that to be more of a possibility than some of the other things that these parents were involved in the drug aspect of it and something with them occurred, because like I said, where's the communication? Even if they were selling it, like where's the communication of like months of purchases, people going in there buying shipments? I mean, there should be some sort of record of those type of things. And again, that would be something that would be easy to follow. That's an evidence trail that's easy to follow when those are the situations. And I don't think it would have taken them 3 months to kind of figure out what's going on and it be a mystery. So to me, the most likeliest outcome is that the kids walked away, whether that was because they were playing or they were scared. Maybe there is a possibility that they, like I said, the kids missed school. And I think that's a pretty big important piece, that they both missed school leading up to this. And there was a CPS case where one of the children had a black eye. And I think that there's a possibility there that maybe perhaps there was another altercation or there was another incident that may have occurred. And the kids were like, we want to get out of here. And they walked off based off of that. And then there's the possibility that they walk, whether it was because of of a situation, or just because they were exploring and they walked off, that somebody could have come across as a crime of opportunity. Now, I would have hoped that they did a geofencing and gotten all the phone information from the area, and given it being a rural area, would have led for a fewer amount of phone that's in the area, and that would have been an avenue to kind of navigate through. But I mean, it obviously would be something difficult, but I think that it's probably on the lower end of possibilities, the abduction theory. From that aspect, to me at this point, I would assume that they walked off. Now, why? I don't know.
Well, I was going to say, Charmaine, just quick. Thank you, Daniel. Charmaine, I mean, you were obviously busy when I asked you to talk before, paying some bills and doing work and stuff. Is there something that you want? We're going to wrap it up right quick here, but is there something that you wanted to ask Daniel? And by the way, you guys, for Popeye, I seen your comment. Okay, Daniel is a former police officer, and he has experience in the field. Not only is he been a police officer, Popeye, I'm speaking to you directly because of your comment, is that not only that, he's a very level-headed thinker. Okay, that's what I love about Daniel and his crew over on the Drunk Turkey Show. He's just down to earth, grounded, and what he has said tonight does make a lot of sense for certain things. He does not know this case. Let me make that clear. He only knew that 2 children were missing. Okay, so this is his first night even talking about it, or even knowing anything about this case out of Canada. He's a great friend, so just remember that about your comment that he knows nothing. Again, unless you've been a police officer or something like that and have more knowledge than Daniel, then please feel free to come sit with us. Tell us all about your experience. Anyway, Charmaine, back to you on this one.
I just, I was listening. I was on a work call, but I was listening, and I don't think I have any questions for you, Daniel. Just that, my biggest red flag, if we take in all of this information, just like what you know, and these people truly believe these kids are being hidden, they're alive somewhere. Not one of them is asking for them to come home. Not one of them is actively searching for the kids. Not one of them is using their social media to spread awareness. Daniel pops into chat rooms here and there to throw certain information out, whatnot, and you'll get into that, I'm sure, when you dig, but none of it is useful. Not one of them are looking for these kids. They're not hanging posters. There's a lot to it. They're not looking for these kids. So I don't even think they truly believe that. I really don't, because if they did, they would be screaming from the rooftops, please help me find my kids. Please let my kids go. Keep your eye out for my kids. Anything, but none of that is happening. And I really hope that after you dig in a little bit, you'll let us know what your thoughts are after, because we're all so biased at this point and tainted with all of the shit that's gone on, that there's no way that we could have those kind of rational thoughts anymore. We need that in this case. We need fresh eyes in this case.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's too far gone for us. It's too far gone.
You're fresh eyes. So so this is fresh to you. And like I said, you have some experience behind you. Again, Daniel hasn't been a police officer, like you said, for 15, 20 years. It's
been a while.
Again, it's been a while, but you know what?
Don't let this boyish good looks deceive you. I'm a little bit older than I look.
But Daniel is a very logical thinker. He's a great person. And again, I thought he would definitely add value from somebody that doesn't know the case, that we could sit there and freshly just give him information based on, what's been put out there by the news and media, especially about the case, the gist of the case. And obviously we know a shit ton more in certain things. But like I said, you've said things tonight. Again, I always myself, regardless, right? Yes, we've heard a lot of shit. Jack and Lilly is the focus here. What happened to Jack and Lilly? The rest of the family members come behind that to me about what they're saying and stuff like that. Jack and Lilly, there has to be some truth. So like what Charmaine said, is that's what's been frustrating us from a standpoint of being a mother, like you're a father, right? Is that where is this activeness from these family members? Now, I want to exclude somewhat Daniel to this because it's not like he's not being public. He is, and he's all over true crime in here as well.
Not asking for help to find the kids. He's not asking for help to find the kids. I mean, I'm lumping Daniel in with the rest of them. I'm sorry.
You don't have to be sorry. That's how you feel. Absolutely. So, again,
to me, though, there's one thing about it, though. It seems like, and I haven't been following this case at all,
right.
So I don't know. But based on what he was saying, it sounds like there's a lot of finger pointing and a lot of maybe rumors and things that are spread. And I can say from the Brian Koberger case that there was a tremendous amount of false information and rumors that were being spread across. It even got onto my channel and things like that. So I can see why somebody wanting to step out of the limelight if they're being constantly accused of something. You know, not saying that's the case here. I have no idea.
No idea. I
have none whatsoever. The only interviews I've seen on this were the ones you showed today. I believe those were the only times I've ever actually seen the parents of these two children.
Right. Yes.
You know, I only heard, the only thing I've known about this case prior to today was that they went missing. And so there's a lot I do not know.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm interested in this. And if Daniel is a guy that is in the true crime community and messaging people, and he wants to maybe get some fresh eyes on it too. And I'm more than happy to talk to you, my man. You know, I'll talk to you too.
Because he is watching. He is watching. Make no mistake, he is watching.
Yeah, like I told you prior to this live, it was the first time Daniel sent me a slew of messages, and it's almost like he just said, you know what, almost like, here you go. This is all my information. Put it out there. And what his words are, I got nothing to lose at this point. And so, yeah, so I will send that to you if you would like. It was
that'd be great.
He said I could share. So you guys, again, we will do a live on Monday because now Daniel did share with Kent as well a bunch of timeline information to Jack and Lilly, more that's ever been said before. So we're going to do that Monday. The reason I'm not doing it tomorrow is because I'm going to go see my twin sister tomorrow. And I'm going to go spend a day with her. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Appreciate you, buddy. You're a great dude, great friend of the channel to us. And just thank you for your insight, for it being the first time of you listening to this case. You know, if you do take it on, you know, in a sense of, you know, in the States, whoever covers it, it's about bringing awareness. But if it does interest you a bit, again, feel free. I'll send you whatever I got.
Yeah, 100%. At the end of the day, I would like to help get some answers solved for these kids.
Yeah,
that's what it's about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I have to show you something very quickly. So, and just to put this in, if you don't mind, Daniel, can you give me, last time, can you give me 10 minutes of your time just to show you a couple things? Like, and these are more of videos, okay? So, if you could, don't mind. Thank you so much. It's a crime and shame. And someone had sent me this beautiful song called Come Home, Jack and Lilly. And I wanted to do Belinda, and I wanted to do Alana King, and all you guys out there, this beautiful little video to attach to it. Thank you so much for the person who wrote the poem. Thank you for fighting for Jack and Lilly's army. Please hit the like and the share. Thank you so much.
In the quiet dawn of a May morning, two little hearts went out to play. Lily's laughter, Jack's small footsteps vanished with the breaking day. Come home, Jack and Lily, we're praying for you still. The woods are deep and silent, but our love will draw you near. forest paths and endless trees. Searchers called your names aloud. Hope flickered in the morning breeze as prayers rose up to the clouds. Come home, Jack and Lilly. We're praying for your steer. The woods are deep and silent, but our love will draw you near. The sun sets over Pictou County. Stars shine with gentle grace. The community holds a vigil, longing for your embrace. Come home, Jack and Lilly. We're praying for your steer. The woods are deep and silent, but our love will draw you near.
Okay, we'll leave it there.
That's so sad.
It is. And they spent all this time, they were up there, and beautiful.
It is. It's a beautiful song. Beautiful imagery. The kids are beautiful, and I hope, it's been a while. I hope they're found safe. And if they're not safe, then I'm a religious person. I know they're with God and in a better place. And so
if they are, they absolutely.
It's these things they're always hard, especially with children. It's tough to cover, it's tough to talk about, and you just want to find the truth, and you want to find justice, you want to find reasoning, and I hope we can find those things for these kids.
Absolutely. So again, that's why I just want to say that's why the frustration is kicking in now, because it was like, why isn't anyone really fighting for these kids besides Belinda, the paternal grandmother that I have been talking to since like about the first week of this case, somewhere in that time period, first couple weeks. And so she wants answers to what happened to her grandbabies. So we're mystically wondering why the rest of the family isn't showing this same type of reaction of, we want answers, please help us, please spread awareness, please do this, please do that. So that being said, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And again, I will send you all the stuff that Daniel had sent me tonight, and you can have a peruse over it. And again, if you would like, I don't want you to do anything you don't want to, of course, but children.
Yeah, no, send it to me. I'm interested.
Sure.
And again, also Daniel is out there and he's watching and he listens and he wants somebody right now. I'm not blaming you, man. Like, I don't know what happened. I'm open to what you have to say. And so I would listen to what you have to say. Absolutely.
You know what? Right now it's in a place because of these inconsistencies. So there was a point there where people were trying to believe, and some people still do, that the children are hidden. Daniel's put himself in a place because of the inconsistencies. Now it's become against him, right? But the thing is, for me personally, it's bottom line is facts and truth that will help figure out potentially what happened to Jack and Lilly. What time frame did they possibly disappear? to give a better understanding and the awareness of the case, obviously. But thank you for your non-judgmental side tonight. Appreciate that very much, Daniel, for you being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. It was a great time. I appreciate you. It was great meeting you as well. Sharman, I appreciate you as well. You guys have been awesome and very welcoming to me. And thank you for everybody that is in the chat and said some great things towards me as well. I appreciate everybody.